Beautiful, Marni. You were born in Ethiopia
Yes.
and adopted.
Yeah.
What have your parents told you about that time?
So my parents, my mum always knew that she didn't want to have her own children for whatever reason. Like she just never felt like that was for her. And then she happened to marry. My father has a genetic tissue disorder, and everyone in his family with it has passed away. They died in their mid-30s. My dad is still with us, thank God. So she always knew she wanted to adopt a child, and my father's Dutch Indonesian, and he was born in Ethiopia because his father was an engineer working in Ethiopia. And they adopted me in 2002 when I was, they think, around 8 months old. But they were actually assigned a different child. And then like 2 months before they were supposed to go to Ethiopia, this Samson passed away from meningitis. And then they were distraught, and then they were given, oh no, there's this other child that's available. Do you want him then? And they were like, yeah, of course. Like, then they went to Ethiopia, went to Dubai, went to Ethiopia. They were really taken aback by the state of the poverty in Ethiopia. In Addis, it was really quite scary for them, I think. Like, my mum still talks about it, like seeing children begging on the side of the road for food. And yeah, I think then they were still recovering from the famine. And it was very confronting for them. But so they brought me back, and we lived in Byron Bay. I grew up in Byron Bay. And yeah, I love Australia. It's been really good.
What have they told you about those first few years? I could imagine them just being absolutely smitten with you.
Yeah, they videoed a lot. They've always shown me, like they've always told me, I've always known I was adopted. Obviously my parents are white, like it was a bit like, I've always known I was adopted. And yeah, I was just a really happy kid, I guess. Like everyone always wanted to like touch me, pick me up, cuddle me. Like I was like the only black baby in Byron Bay in like the early 2000s. There's like, it's still a very like Caucasian kind of area.
Totally.
And always singing. I'm a jazz singer, and like from the moment they pick me up, there's videos of us at like a hotel in Dubai, and I'm singing before I could talk. So like that was always like, everything was always around my singing growing up.
Marni, with a few of my guests that have come in, myself included, a lot of our, if we really think back to it, a lot of our addiction, the wound is very connected to a loss of identity. Now, you are a person of colour, the only person of colour in Byron Bay back in those days, and adopted parents. Did you feel this sense of, who am I? Or were you so doted and loved on that you sort of didn't ask those questions until later in life?
Fully. I never really, like, my parents always told me, like, your mom loved you a lot, but she wasn't able to take care of you, so she wanted to make sure you had the best life possible. And I was left in one of those turnaround where you can put a baby in at the convents in Ethiopia. So they always told me, like, I always knew where I'd come from. And yeah, they really loved me. I never really thought about anything like that. I never related my addiction or like my like extreme alcohol use, extreme drug use to anything until I was older and had bottom surgery. And then I was like, started to actually think, oh, why is it like this? Because I always used to think, oh, I used because I was uncomfortable with my body. And then I had bottom surgery, and that changed a lot for me. But like the urge to use drugs and alcohol, specifically drugs, was still very much there. And it wasn't like this magic cure that fixed everything. It helped a lot. Like it completely changed my life. Like I remember the first time, like maybe 3 or 4 days after surgery, and I was still, on heaps of morphine and all this stuff. And like, I was in a really bad way. It was a really rough recovery. But I remember like this like weight coming off. And then especially when I got back to Australia, like the first few days, I was like waking up and like I could get out of bed for the first time. And I'd never woken up and not wanted to die. Like it was like for the first time ever, it was like is this how everyone else lives? Like you just wake up and you're like, you want to get out of bed. I would want to wake up and go back to sleep. Like there was no interest in life. But yeah, sorry, I've gone off on a tangent.
No,
now.
I love this. Let's stay with the bottom surgery
Yeah.
now. We will go back to childhood.
Yeah.
So bottom surgery for people who have no idea, who perhaps don't have any trans people in their life. What does that actually mean?
So I had gender reassignment surgery. I was born male, and I've always felt from like my earliest memories is that like I wasn't in the right body. I was really uncomfortable, and it had a major impact on my mental health, like so much. And I guess I realized how much of an impact it was having after I had surgery. But so I went to Thailand, and the doctors here are not, they just don't have the experience, and the surgery is nowhere near as, it's not as good, and the aftercare is nowhere near as good. In Australia, you're in hospital for 7 days, and I was in hospital for 4.5 weeks in Thailand.
Okay.
And I went to what I could find as the best surgeon in the world to do this, because it's not something you want to have to do more than once. And it was really rough. It was like I couldn't walk for 3 weeks. I was in a lot of pain, like an unimaginable amount of pain, like to the point where like the morphine was doing nothing. It was making me comfortable enough that I didn't want to jump out the window of like the 10-story hospital, that like, because that was what was in my mind. Like they give you an epidural like you would get in pregnancy, and that lasts for like the first 24 hours. And then that wears off, and then you're like, what the fuck have I done to myself? Like, it's just, it was crazy. I had a sigmoid colon vaginoplasty.
Okay.
So they resected 20 centimeters of my sigmoid colon through laparoscopic surgery, and then used that to create lining for my internal vagina.
Oh my gosh.
And the downside of that is you have to wait for your digestive tract to heal back up before you can eat anything.
Of course, because you can't use, got
So
you.
I was on water for 14 days.
Jesus, were you 30 kilos?
I was so sick. And also I had a really bad reaction to the antibiotics. So I couldn't really take in any food. Everything was like, couldn't go to the toilet properly. It was diarrhea. It was like unable to eat. And like after about 3 or 4 or 5 days of not eating, you start to go crazy. I was like chewing food and spitting it out.
Just
and
anything.
Like, couldn't like, and they keep you in these like really heavy bandages, and like I couldn't like hold my like stomach. So like it was horrific. Like it was really, really, really bad. And when I came back from Thailand, I'd lost a lot of weight. I looked like I would just come out of like a really hard run. And then I was completely dependent on opioids as well when I got back. And they had me with a sheet of paper every morning, and you could order as much of any of the drugs as you wanted.
This is Thailand?
So I was supposed to, and no one was checking me. I was supposed to be on like 200 milligrams, I think, of tramadol a day, and I was taking like sometimes 800 to 1,000 milligrams of tramadol a day, and then still being in pain. And then when I got back to Australia, straight to the doctors, I need morphine tablets. For some reason, they gave them to me because I was still in a lot of pain. And then when the pain left, I stopped taking them. And it was hell. Like, it was really bad. I had no idea what was going on. And I was with my friend in my bedroom, and all of a sudden, like, I'm doubled over on the floor. I can't walk. I'm vomiting. I can't keep any food down. And I'm like, what's going on? And my friend, I can't say names, my friend, one of my best girlfriends from the rooms was like, babe, I think you're withdrawing from opioids. And I was like, what? And she was like, yeah, I think you're withdrawing from opioids. And I was like, there's no way. So I threw these pills out because I was like, I just want to like get started with my life. Like, I don't want to be on this anymore. And then I ended up in hospital. They're thinking that all the pain is coming from some sort of complication. So then they're pumping me with more morphine, which just prolonged. And then I finally realized what was going on. And I was just like, oh, I just have to get through this. And so I just like sat in a hot shower and suffered through it. It was really rough. But about 2 months after that, I relapsed on ice. And that's when I started doing heroin. And that's when everything kind of got out of control, which was really shocking to me because I was like, this was supposed to fix everything and it didn't, which is like, it did fix what it was meant to fix, but it wasn't like
The solution to your life.
no, it wasn't, not at all, which was scary because had spent my whole life
Being like, this is the one thing. As
Yeah.
soon as this is done, then I'm going to have this perfect life.
no.
I have questions. How do you tell your parents who absolutely adore you that you hate yourself, you're born in the wrong gender, and you also want to get surgery?
Yeah, so that was interesting. I think I started introducing them to the idea that I wasn't going to be the person that they thought they were raising. And my mum always says, we thought we were raising Prince, but we're actually raising Diana Ross. And like, it was really rough at the beginning. Like, I think I first told them when I was like maybe 15. And my mom was like pretty freaked out by the whole, like, she was as understanding as she could be. And like, my mom's amazing and she's super supportive. But it was quite like, she was like, what? You want to wear a dress to school? Like, what? Like, I don't, she didn't understand.
She just didn't understand. Yeah.
And to be honest, I didn't really understand it either. And then when I was 18, we lived in Byron Bay and I was like, Mum, we need to go for a walk. We're going to go for a walk on the beach. I took her for a walk. I think she kind of knew what was coming. And I was like, look, I'm going to transition. You can either be a part of this or I'm going to go off because I'm doing this whether you support me or not. We can be a family and we can do this together, or I'm going to go somewhere else and do this on my own. And she came around really quickly. And my dad's always been like the kind of emotionally rational, like even if something is really crazy to him, he will never show that. My mum's a little bit more reactive, but they took it okay. I mean, the hating myself and the real like self-loathing and depression was really hard for my mum to deal with, especially. I had a suicide attempt when I was 15 and didn't tell anyone about it until I was like maybe 18, 19. And she was really like, my mom really couldn't deal with it. So I like got myself help. And yeah, it was really hard at the beginning and like stopped speaking to some family members because it was just like, yeah, it wasn't good for me to have them around. And like my parents were really supportive of me with that. My aunt was in Hillsong
Okay.
and was dragging me along to like all
Like
that
almost
kind
like conversion therapy-ish.
basically when I was younger, because it was very obvious that I wasn't like a normal young kid. You know, I was like very feminine and it was like I just didn't like the things that I was apparently supposed to like. And she would like preach to me about how being gay is wrong and like the LGBT agenda and all this stuff. And I'm like, what's the agenda? I don't know what we're trying to achieve here. Like, I just couldn't understand that she would always reference like the agenda. And I'm like, I don't know what that is. Like, is there something I need to know? Like, it just didn't make any sense to me. And she was like the only person in my family that had a hard time understanding.
That's pretty good innings for family dynamics.
Yeah, I mean, my grandparents are really supportive. They like got it straight away. Like,
It sounds like your mum, your dad, your grandparents, they were at the same mindset of you of as long as Marni isn't going to kill herself,
yeah,
we will do whatever, you know? So
yeah,
like
100%.
they just wanted you to be happy. Yeah.
100%. And I think they really started when I explained it to my mum as like, I feel one way on the inside, but the outside is like completely wrong. Then she started to understand it. Yeah, I think that helped her understand it quite a bit.
When were you first introduced to alcohol or drugs?
Yeah, so I went to high school in country Victoria and drinking was very normal from like really like 13, 14. And then at like 15, other parents and even my parents would send me to parties with like a couple of cans and that was fine. But like I was getting a couple of cans and then I was stealing maybe 10 cans. And then I found a friend whose mum would buy us heaps of alcohol. Like, if we had the money, she would buy it. She didn't care. And I was getting like paralytic drunk from like 15, and I was way drunker than everyone else. I was vomiting every time I drank, drinking like a 10-pack of double blacks. And it was really messy. Like, it was bad. I was getting picked up from parties because I was on the floor in a pool of my own vomit. Like, it was really, really bad. And then started smoking pot in probably year 10. And then that got really out of control too. Like, I got everyone in my like school on weed, and like I was the bad influence. I was like, but it never, I was still like doing okay at school. I did well on tests. I didn't really do like much else. Like, I could fake it through, but wasn't really interested in school. And then the harder drugs came. Cocaine came at like 18, 19. I got with a group of people in Byron Bay that were really heavy cocaine users, ketamine users, acid, Molly, and we were partying basically every day. And the alcohol kind of left. I wasn't interested in alcohol anymore. I'd found cocaine, and like my life revolved around doing lines and hosting parties, and it was fun and it was cool and it was really like light then. And then ice came into the mix when I started modeling, and a lot of the models are using ice and other stimulants to stay thin, to be able to go out all night and then do a show in the morning. And I was trying to get a bag of Coke after this, after Melbourne Fashion Week. And this model was like, oh, this guy's coming. I don't think he has Coke, but he has like what I do. And I was like, oh, well, what do you do? And she was like, oh, like, well, I smoke ice. And she was signed to Vivian's. And I was like, okay, I guess. And I'd taken heaps of Xanax as well that night. So I was sideways, and she put the pipe in my mouth and lit it. And I didn't really get high. It didn't really do anything for me. And I was kind of like, maybe it was all the Xanax, but I was like, oh, this is okay. Later on that night, we met up with my friend that I used to do Coke with. I went back to his house in Toorak, and we're downstairs in like their entertaining room, and she pulls out the pipe again and she gives it to me. This time I got high, and instantly I was like, this has changed my life.
Really?
Like, I've never felt like this ever in my life. And it's just, like cocaine was like, why would I ever do that ever again? And from then on, it was really heavy ice use. And I basically became an everyday user in a matter of weeks. And then this was in October, and by December I was shooting up, and then it just never stopped.
Marni, I love this conversation because I think the misconception is ice users live in public housing. Ice users don't have their life together. But what I'm hearing from this story is the people who you looked up to in the modelling industry were all on ice. I mean, big generalisation, but you get what I'm saying. Was that confusing for you? Were you like, oh, well, they all have their shit together, so this can't be a really bad drug and it's the public that have it wrong? Or did you know?
I didn't really give a shit. I just wanted to get high. I just wanted to feel like, I just wanted to go out, party, get into trouble. I loved getting into trouble. I loved like just going out into the city with cash in my pocket and seeing what trouble I could get into. And
like really self-destructive.
Super self-destructive. And like at this point, I'm like working a fair bit in Melbourne. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to get an apartment. So I got an apartment in Melbourne, and I moved in with someone I used to go to school with, and she didn't use drugs. And she watched me just like get to the point where I had my mattress up against my door because I was like losing my mind. And I overdosed really badly on ice, and she called my mum and was like, you need to come get your daughter, come from Byron Bay, come to Melbourne, your daughter's fucked. And that's when I went to rehab for the first time. I didn't want to go. My mum was like, well, we're not going to deal with you anymore if you don't go try and get clean. But to touch on what you said about the misconceptions about ice is First time I got high on ice, I was in a $25 million house in Turak.
This is what I'm saying.
Like, and it wasn't dirty or grungy. And we were in, like, I think I was wearing, like, vintage Dior sunglasses. There's a photo somewhere, shockingly. And, like, it was crazy. There was, like, a butler and, like, there was a maid and it was, like, normal. You know, it was really normalized to just be fucked up and that was okay. I noticed towards the end of my use in Byron Bay with the cocaine and the ketamine, people were coming to me and being like, you need to slow down. And I always remember thinking, like, what the fuck? Like, you guys are all doing the same thing. Why are you, like, picking on me? I was like, poor me. Like, I'm getting bullied by these other junkies. But looking back on it, I was 10 years younger than them. I was, like, barely 18. And I couldn't walk half the time. I was, like, leaning on walls to get down the hallway. And they were actually really concerned for me. And I just took it completely the wrong way. And eventually they were like, we love you, but we can't watch you
kill yourself. Yeah.
And I was so offended and so like, fuck you guys. But I get it now. Because I couldn't imagine, number one, they were feeding me so much drugs. I couldn't imagine feeding some like child cocaine, DMT, acid, like everything all the time. And like it was really obvious that I was like in a really bad state. Yeah.
So you go to rehab. I'm going to assume, considering you didn't want to go, I'm going to take a wild punt, Marni, and assume it didn't work.
No. So after I got out of rehab, I had this shoot with Margella and I finished the shoot and they were drinking champagne. And I was like, I can have a champagne. Had one glass of champagne and I ended up with 4 girls that I'd just gotten out of rehab with smoking crack down the road from the shoot. And then it was off to the races again. It was chaos straight away. It was like I was in a stolen car within like a couple of hours and we were like driving somewhere and the girl that was driving had been up for like a week. It was really dangerous, really quickly. And after rehab, it got so much worse. Like it was like I met a bunch of drug addicts in rehab. I was hanging out with them all the time when I got out of rehab. No one in the rehab I was in wanted to be clean. They were all there on either court orders or they were there because their family made them go. We had already kind of planned to link up before we'd even left, you know. But I actually did take rehab really seriously. I didn't use in rehab. I kind of did everything and I actually really enjoyed it, which was strange. I kind of treated it like a
little retreat.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
So you now met your new posse from rehab and you're all as bad as each other, I'm going to assume, all really want to self-destruct. I have to ask, Marni, during this time, you know, you jump in cars where people have been awake for days and just wanting to find that ultimate high and that next level of feeling. Did you want to die during this time? Or what was it? What's the mindset behind it?
I think it was just like I was addicted to chaos and I was addicted to just like the oblivion. Like I just wanted to not be a part of the world. I wanted to be like completely in the underground. I was obsessed with like crime and drugs and just like the worst part. It was, I guess, really self-destructive, but like I was having so much fun. Like I was having the time of my life and I ended up, the girl that I was living with when I first got to Melbourne, she was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm going. And she moved out because I was crazy. And then I moved this other model into my apartment and he was also a user. And we were like this. We were so close and I loved him so much. We were really good friends. We're like siblings. And it got so much worse because we both had no boundaries and we both didn't really care what the other person was doing. So it allowed so much to happen, like selling drugs and all this other crazy stuff and like hanging out with really crazy people, having criminals in the house all the time and just like, yeah, it was crazy. And like we just fed off each other's like addiction and like it was really bad. And then when I left Melbourne, I tried to bring him with. I was like, I have to get clean. I like chose myself. I was like, this is too much now. Like do you want to come with me? And he didn't want to come with me. So he ended up moving in with some guy he was seeing. And then about 6 months later, he went missing. And no one's heard from him now for like maybe 2 or 3 years and just gone.
Are you worried?
Very. He was getting abused by this guy.
Yes.
And he went back to his mum's for like a couple of weeks and then went back to Melbourne. And then after that, no one's heard from him for now like 2 years, 3 years.
Well, I wanted to bring that up, this really dangerous situation that you keep putting yourself in voluntarily. Even myself, as someone who abused alcohol and cocaine, the situations I got myself in with men, and I'm not victim blaming myself, but I wouldn't have been in those spaces or those rooms if I had not have been off my rocker. Were there situations that were really dangerous like that?
I mean, I think there were situations that could have gone that way had I been with people with more sinister intentions. I was really lucky when I was younger. I had my own place. I had money. I wasn't having to do crazy shit to get high. And I basically never left my house.
Okay.
Like, it was very much in the end, like when it got really bad, it was people were coming to my house. My housemate was always there. And
So you felt safe.
I felt safe. And like, I never was assaulted. Nothing like that ever happened. Like, yeah, nothing like that ever happened. That all happened to me in a relationship. That's when that stuff started to happen, which is crazy because that's where you think you'd be safe, but no.
No, statistically, no, too. Can we go into that?
Yeah, sure.
Where did you meet your ex?
I met my ex-partner. I was once again down from Byron Bay in Melbourne for work, and I was with another friend of mine that doesn't use drugs, and I was like, oh, I want to go to this, like, I got to go see my friend at this apartment. I just was wanting to get high. And we get there and it's like a crackdown and she's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, she's like, comes from a very wealthy family from Singapore. And like, she was just like, what the fuck? Why am I here? And she ends up leaving and I'm like there getting high with these random people. And he walks in. Someone there had known him and invited, and he comes in. And straight away, we like lock eyes when he walks through the door and he looks like trouble. And I was like, I'm going to be with you.
You're like, sign me up.
Straight away, I was like, that's going to be, you're for me. And then we hook up like straight away that night. He comes in and sits on the couch and straight away we hook up and we're like in love straight away. He leaves because he has a girlfriend. I didn't know about this. And so he leaves and he goes back to his girlfriend's house. I find all this out after. And his girlfriend breaks his phone. And then at about 7 a.m., I start getting calls from this random number. And I pick it up and it's this girl. And she is going postal. And I realize that she knows some of the people that live there. And they've told her that he was there with this. Anyway, then all of a sudden I have this girl that's trying to kill me. And I'm like, I gotta go. So I leave straight away. And I can't even get in contact with him because she's broken his phone. How did I run it? Oh, he could call me through his car.
Oh my God.
There's Bluetooth on his car. So
if there's a will, there's a way. Jesus.
I was supposed to fly out and I was like, couldn't get on the plane because I hadn't seen him again. And I like am breaking down. I was like, I have to see this guy. Like, I can't get on the plane.
It was that strong, that pull.
It was so strong. I like just ditched the flight and get a hotel. I'm like, I'm just going to have to track him down. Then as I'm walking into the hotel, as I check in, he calls me. And I'm like, come to this hotel right now. And he comes and then we're upstairs doing whatever. She shows up downstairs and she somehow gets my name and last name. The hotel phone in the room rings and I pick it up and it's this girl. I'm like, what the fuck? How does she know my name? How did she find me? And she's downstairs outside the building going crazy. I have to call security to get her removed. And she comes back and I'm like, if you go back down there to talk to this girl, don't come back. Like, I can deal with a lot of shit. I can't deal with I'm not dealing with another woman. And he's like, okay. And just like puts his phone in like the sink or something and just like never speaks to her again.
So that was the foundation of your relationship.
Yeah. And then still no phone. I leave my laptop in his car and then I find my Mac back to his parents' house. So I get an Uber from there's this suburb out west in Melbourne on the beach, Williamstown. I get an Uber from Williamstown to Sandringham, tracking my laptop. And I find his car in this car park. And I'm trying to get my laptop out of this car. And him and his stepdad are like on the balcony. And his stepdad goes, "There's some girl going through your car." Because the car was unlocked for some reason. And the laptop was in the back. And he's like, "Oh, yeah." And he comes down and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, I just came from my laptop." And he was like, "Oh, okay." And we get in the front of the car and we start talking and we use. And then I was like, "Wait, I'm going to buy you a phone." So went and bought him a phone. And I was supposed to be in Melbourne for 2 days. I ended up staying in Melbourne for a month. And then in the end, I was like, he had never used intravenously before. I was like, "Don't do it. It's not good. It's really like you don't want to do it." And then one day when I was really high, he kept insisting and insisting. And he starts using intravenously too. And then he doesn't take it well. And it gets really, really, really bad really quickly. And then I feel responsible for this. So I'm like, "Come home with me to Byron and we'll get you clean and we'll sort you out. It'll be fine." Because I knew myself, I could always get myself clean. He'd never been clean in 8 years. And I was like, "Come with me." So we moved back to Byron Bay and tell my parents, "Oh, my friend from Melbourne is going to visit for 2 weeks." That's the guise of why this person's coming with me. We come up, and then after like 2 weeks, my mum can tell that we're like really in love. And I was like, "I think he's going to stay." And she was like, "Okay." He got along really well with my parents. He knew who to charm to keep like himself in this situation. His parents had had enough of him, and rightfully so. He was an absolute nightmare. Relationship was pretty good for a while. And then, I mean, it wasn't great. Like, he was a selfish prick, and like, he was not a good partner. But I was in love with him for whatever reason.
And you guys were using together, right?
We got clean.
Oh, amazing. Okay.
So we were clean for basically the entire year together and like building this relationship. But he starts drinking. Find out he's also an alcoholic. And he wasn't a violent alcoholic. It wasn't angry. It was just like, the whole relationship felt inauthentic because you're drunk as fuck all the time. I don't even feel like I know you. Or like I don't get to spend any time with you because you're always drunk. It just doesn't feel real anymore.
Yeah.
And then we moved to Brisbane because my parents finish up their business and they want to move back to their investment property in Brisbane. And we moved near Caboolture. And within a week, I meet a bunch of really bad people, and then all of a sudden I'm at the center of like this massive drug like community in Caboolture, which I'm sure if you know about Caboolture, it's crazy. And it's like nothing I had ever experienced in Melbourne. Like all of a sudden everyone had guns, everyone was shooting up 0.5 grams of ice, and it was just mental. It was absolutely mental. And I make friends really easily, and it's like a big problem for me because like my ex-partner would be able to use and like get on from someone, but he would never like create a relationship with them.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm babysitting your kid. You know, I'm helping you move house. You know, I'm like, I get really involved for whatever reason. I was always seeking connection, and I get really involved in this really big family, and like this girl's aunt, for lack of a better term, was trans as well, and her dad was in jail, mum was in jail, she was a massive ice dealer, and we become really good friends because she's a really lovely girl. And then I find out she's like just gotten out of jail for attempted murder, like all this crazy shit, and I just can't imagine. She really changed her life, but like I couldn't imagine this girl doing anything like that. And then the longer we were there, the worse it got. I got back on heroin as well. And then he became so abusive. He didn't like the fact that I had friends. He didn't like the fact that everyone liked me. He didn't like the fact that like I had to sell drugs to support our habit because he was useless. Like, this man couldn't find a root in a whorehouse. Like, he was just absolutely, like, I was like, I just don't understand how you have a massive habit and you're not going to do anything about it. What are you going to do when you run out of drugs? Like, I never ran out of drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm selling heaps of drugs, and then he's, like, sabotaging my life. Like, telling me he would drive me somewhere, and then when it comes down to doing it, they're like, we're 5 minutes before we're supposed to leave, he chucks a fit. Then it starts to become sexual assault. Then it's me finding videos of him drugging me and raping me on his computer. And that's when my use got really out of control because I didn't even want to talk to him about it that I knew. I just pretended I didn't know. And then after almost a year of that, we ended up going to Bali to visit my friend to get clean. And I don't remember anything. I remember apparently I stole a bottle of tequila from duty free. And I remember shooting up in the toilet before we went through security at the airport. And then I remember being in a car in Bali. Don't remember being at my friend's house. She was like, what the fuck? Like, this isn't just like a drying out. Like, you need serious help. And I wake up in a rehab in Bali, this private rehab that my friend's friend owns. And it's just me and him. And we're in this huge rehab, like this huge like mansion in Bali, getting like great service and like, but it was like a holiday. It wasn't a rehab, and they weren't doing like I was like, oh, I need you to take me to an NA meeting every day. Like, I can't be here sober with him and not do NA. Like, I'm gonna go fucking mental. And so they start taking us to NA meetings, and I'm like really enjoying it. And somehow I've forgotten that this guy had been raping me and abusing
Your abuser.
me. It's just like gone from my head. And he's really not happy about being sober. And then he gets caught drinking alcohol in the rehab. And then he gets caught bringing pot back. We had to go to Thailand for a day, and like he gets caught bringing pot back from Thailand to Bali. And then they're like, we can't do this. You got to leave the rehab. So we leave the rehab. We move into my other friend has a beach house in Canggu. Like, have you been to Bali?
Yes, yeah.
You know where Old Man's is?
Yes.
So right behind Old Man's, my friend had like this gorgeous house.
Gorgeous.
And we were living there. And he was really crazy at this point. He could see that I was getting better and I was doing well and happy, and like I was making friends in Bali, and he didn't like that. So he started being nasty, turning on me. Then we were supposed to go out for dinner one night, and I go across the road to Mexicola to have a drink with this girl that I've met since I've been there. And then I wake up in a townhouse somewhere in Canggu, and there's like 4 guys, obviously really wealthy. Don't remember how I got there. I take a key though. When I come to, I'm like, you need to get me the fuck out of here. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I tried to keep my cool because I didn't know what they would do if I lost it. So I sneak a key to their place, and I go back. I'm like, take me back to wherever you picked me up from. I don't even know where I am. So he puts me on the back of the bike, and we drive back to Canggu. And I'm like still really out of it at this point. It's been like 5 or 6 hours, I've realized, when I get back. And my boyfriend at the time snapped my laptop in half when I got back. And I come to the door and he just starts abusing me. And I was like, you have no idea what's just happened to me. You need to sit the fuck down and listen to me. And he's not having any of it. And I'm like, I think I've just been raped by an unknown amount of people. And I happen to leave my phone there as well. So I track my phone back to this house, let myself in because I remembered to grab a key for some reason. And yeah, he's just the whole time is like, oh, you just slept with them. Like, I was like, what the fuck? Like, it was really hard, and I was in a different country, and my partner was like blaming me, basically. And he was even like, even if it was that, like, you shouldn't have been there. You shouldn't have, like,
you shouldn't have been roofied.
I didn't even meet these people. Like, I don't even know where I'm, like, you know what I mean? It was like, you shouldn't have been whatever. I don't even know what he said because it just never made any sense. And then he like is now treating me the whole time like I've cheated on him.
So he's got one up on you.
Yeah, he's being a total asshole. But he knows that it wasn't that, but he's just like behaving that way. Anyway, we get back to Australia. Not long after that, a couple of weeks after that, we were in Bali for like 3 months. And as soon as we get home, he goes to this spot in the garage, and we're going to bed. And I'm like, you're high. Why? How are you high? What the fuck did you take? He's like, no, I'm not high. And I'm like, you're high. What the fuck did you do? He's like, oh yeah, I had something in the roof. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah. And he was like, do you want some? And I was like, no. What the fuck? Like, what are you doing? We just spent all that time and all that money trying to get ourselves clean, and you're using straight away again. Like, and you're trying to encourage me to do it. What the fuck is wrong with you? And even then, that wasn't enough for me to go, okay, like, okay, I'm done. Then we moved to Sydney. I find us an apartment in Mossman. Then we're living in Sydney. He gets a job. I'm like staying at home, doing whatever, going to Pilates or whatever I'm doing. And it's okay for a little bit. And then I'm bored at home all the time. And I'm like, I'm going to get a housemate. We have a spare room. Get like someone to live here. My friend knows someone that's looking for a room. This younger person moved in. He was like 19. Shocker. I walk into the house. I get up one morning. My partner's gone to work and he's sitting on his bed twirling a pipe. And I was like, oh my God, what the fuck is going on? And instantly I'm like, have you got any more of that? And he was like, no, but I can get some. And I was like, okay, where are we going? So then we go to this house, this apartment in Erskineville in Sydney on the over the bridge. And I never really ever went across the bridge. So it was like a big deal. I was like, I can't tell my ex-partner. And I meet this guy there. He's a sex worker. He's really nice to me. Things are a bit weird at his place. Weird people saying weird things about this guy that owns the apartment that seems to be really nice. Like, I'm like, why does everyone hate him? And if they hate him, why are they here? I call him and I call my ex-partner and I'm like, I've used. And he's like, okay, cool. Like, can you bring some home for me? Not even like, fuck, like, let's get you help. Like, fuck, why did you do that? Just straight away, okay, cool. Like, can you bring me a shot? And so I'm like, yeah, sure. And mind you, he's 11 years older than me. And then what ensues was like one of the worst relapse I've ever had. And my ex-partner, I wake up to him sexually assaulting me after a really big fight. And a lot of shit went down before that, but like this was huge. And I tell him to stop, get off me, like, what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, oh, sorry. And then I'm like, okay, I go back to sleep. For some reason, I've just woken up as well, so I'm fairly sure he was spiking me. And I wake up again about 5-10 minutes later, and he's doing it again. And this time I whack him, and I'm like, get the fuck off me. And I get up and I go sit on the couch, and I'm like, what the fuck do I do? Like, how do I get myself out of this? Like, this guy's fucking nuts. Then the next day, I go to my friend's place in Erskineville, and I'm like, I have to get away from this guy. He's like raping me. And I break up with my ex-partner, go to my friend's place, and he starts calling me. And he calls me 170 times. And then he's threatening to kill me. And then he's threatening to destroy my apartment. And then I called a friend of mine that's a little bit scarier than me. And he went, I don't remember if he either went around to our house. He called my ex-partner for me. And I was like, I don't know what to do. This guy's going to kill me and he's capable of it. Can you help me? And he was like, sure, what do you need? And I was like, I just need him to stop trying to find me. And he's like, don't worry, what's his number? I'll call him. He won't be bothering you again. He calls my ex-partner, and I don't know what he said to him or what happened, but instantly it changes from threatening me to threatening his own life. He goes from like, I'm a target to now he's going to off himself. And at that point, I'm like, cool. If that's what you're going to do it. Like, it would be way less trouble for me. You really don't want to be alive anyway. It would be so much easier for all of us if you just did yourself in.
Mm-hmm.
And I call my friend in Brisbane and I'm like, I think he's going to kill himself. And she was like, oh, call the police, call an ambulance. Like, if he's lying, he'll suffer the consequences.
Yeah.
And like, it's not okay to threaten to kill yourself if you're trying to leave him. Like, this is not okay for you. She calls the police in Sydney and tells them the whole story. Because at this point, I'm so loaded, I'm so high. And because all this like stress of the calling, the threatening to kill me, I'm just taking shot after shot after shot. And I'm so wide at this point, I can barely see. I'm taking heaps of GHB and I'm just like out of it. Like, don't even know what to think. Don't even like. She calls the police. The police show up at this crackdown in Erskineville and they're really lovely. Like 4 cop cars show up and each car has 4 cops in them. So there's like this apartment is swarmed by police. And straight away I go out and I'm like, look, like I don't know what to do. My partner's threatening to kill. I show them the text and they're like, okay, we're going to put an AVO out against him. Do you want that? Because we're going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, I want it. I want to, like, can you protect me, please? They put me in the back of the police car and they take me down to Redfern Station to get a statement. I'm in Redfern Station and they're asking me all these questions like, has he ever hit you? Has he ever assaulted you? Has he ever thrown things at you? And I was like, oh, well, he used to throw uncapped fits at me when he was angry, like from across the room. And they were like, what the fuck? And they were like, has he ever sexually assaulted you? And I was like, yeah, he did yesterday. And they were like, what? And I was like, yeah, he raped me yesterday. And then it got really serious. And the male cop left and female cops came in and they took the whole statement. He breached the AVO 5 times in the first day. He showed up at the apartment, was contacting all my friends trying to get to me. So then my friends are having to go in and give statements about them getting contacted. And it just like totally blew up my entire life. And I'm feeling so guilty. And to cope with all of this, I just get really stuck into heroin. And I somehow don't OD. And I'm using heroin a lot on my own in my apartment. And it was a really dark, very dark time. I had a friend that lived down the road from me and he was kind of keeping an eye on me. Like, if I wanted to have a bath, I would call him and he would come and sit in my living room and make sure I wasn't going to drown. Because it was really bad and I was not coping. I was having to go to the police station every day. It was breaching the AVO left, right and center. The police were showing up at my house all through the night to check on me. They knew I was in a really bad way and they hated my ex-partner. New South Wales police were like angels for me in that situation. Like, they really were amazing and like they had a nickname for him at the station. They used to call him Peanut because he was a fucking idiot. And they made me feel really safe and they would even joke about getting him in the cell with like the biggest cops and bashing him. And they would make those jokes to me and I'm like, I guess it's okay because this guy actually is really evil. But like if this guy was innocent, like that's a bit crazy. But I think they take AVOs really seriously in New South Wales. And then I go to rehab on the 20th of September in Melbourne and he's back in Melbourne and we meet up. And I go to rehab and I'm withdrawing from heroin so badly that the rehab can't manage it. I'm on like 16 milligrams of buprenorphine and I'm still shitting my pants nonstop, vomiting. I was so sick and they wouldn't put me on anymore. And I was like, this is fucked. If I'm just going to be in my room shitting myself, I'd rather do it at home. So after 2 weeks in the rehab, I'm like, I'm leaving. Fuck all of you because they were really horrible to me. They like one night I like had to go get a nurse because I was like, I'm so sick. And I was like, I need you to change the sheets. And she was like, we don't change sheets here.
So to lie in your filth.
No, she changed the sheets that night. Yeah, I wish she wasn't going to not change the sheets. I was like, are you fucking joking me? Like, I'm going to come down and you can wear them if you don't get up there and change them. And so she was like, oh, okay, whatever. And she changed the sheets. Because that was never going to happen. Like, I would have been throwing it at her before I was going to go lie down in it. And the next day I booked I was like, fuck this, I'm leaving. And they tried to stop me. And I was like, give me my phone. And they were like, we can't give you your phone. I was like, okay, I'll hitchhike to the airport and I'll call my mom and I'll get a credit card and I'll pay for a flight at the airport. And once they realized there was no
You were going,
changing my mind, I'd already packed my bag. They were like, okay. So I called my driver and had him pick me up from there, booked, and I was really sick. So I was like, fuck it, I'll book a business class flight. So I booked this business class flight from Melbourne back to Brisbane. At this point, my ex-partner had flown to Brisbane because he knew I was getting out of rehab soon and he wanted to be waiting for me. And I get to the airport and I'm so sick at this point. I'm like passing blood. I'm vomiting blood and I'm so ill and I only have like 3 days of Suboxone with me. And I get home, get to the airport and my ex picks me up and he has fits and gear. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing? But of course, I use ice again that night. And this is when I realized, okay, this guy's like, he's never going to change. Like,
can I ask, Marni, what was it about him? Were you scared to be alone? Were you just so hell-bent on self-destructing? What was, because at this stage you already have knowledge of him obviously sexually assaulting you, raping you. Who knows what has gone on truly? I want to understand what the pull is, or is it just you can't explain it?
I think it was a trauma bond.
That makes sense.
Like a really deep codependency, maybe playing into like my feelings of unworthiness, my feelings of not being worth love, being trans and like in like some way, I guess, at that point in my life feeling like sort of unlovable. I just had bottom surgery and I was like, okay, like this is my new start in life. And like, I think I got really attached to him because of that. And having him around made me feel safe, which is crazy, but it just did because I knew what to expect with him. And like
predictable.
Yeah, I knew what I was going to deal with. And like, I had handled it up until that point and like I wasn't fine, but I knew what to expect and it was like familiar. A familiar pain is probably easier to accept than like some new person and you don't know how they're going to hurt you. I knew how he was going to hurt me and it wasn't shocking and like I could prepare myself for it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And he blames me for everything that happened in Sydney. Like, I'm apologizing to him. And there's still an AVO out and we're living together. No contact order, do not approach, really strict. We start living together again. His parents put his Mercedes, he has a really nice, he had plenty of money. His parents ship his Mercedes up from Melbourne back to Brisbane now. So this car's gone up and back like so many times. The car comes up and we're living in Brisbane and this time we don't get clean and we're just using and using and using and his behavior becomes more twisted and more twisted and more twisted. One night, and we're sharing, like our bedrooms here, we have an ensuite and then my parents' bedrooms here and then their ensuite's there. And we're fighting 24/7 while my parents are asleep. And he's twacked out on GHB and doing crazy shit all the fucking time to the point where I'm like, I need a gun. Like, I'm going to have to shoot this guy at some stage. Like, he's going to turn on me and he's going to kill me.
Like a self-defense thing.
Yeah. I'm like, I need to have some sort of contingency plan here. One night he doused me in GHB like just poured like a 1/2 liter bottle all over me because I was trying to get it off him, and he was like, fuck you. And like it goes all over me, and I fucking quickly jump in the shower and I'm trying to wash it off, but it starts to hit me and I'm getting so dizzy and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to die. And I'm like, can you give me my bag of rock, please? And he's refusing to give it to me. And I end up passing out in the bed. Thank God I don't die. But it was just a lot of that. It was a lot of like living with the enemy, sleeping with the enemy. It was crazy. It was living with someone that wants you dead and is sabotaging you constantly. He was cheating on me constantly, telling me, oh, I can't wait to leave you. And I'm like, well, fucking leave then, mate. Like, neither of us are enjoying this. But like the whole time I'm also trying to win him back because I'm remembering that start of the relationship where it was so lovely and so nice. And I'm like, how do we get back there? And it's like, there's no way ever to get back there. It's too far gone now. And also he was a really bad person. Like he wasn't a good person, and there was no partner that he could have been with that would have made him a good person. Like sober or not sober, he had a really evil heart and was a narcissist in the true sense of the word. No care for anyone else. I remember one time we were fighting about something and he's gaslighting me and I'm crying at this point. And I'm like, that did happen. Like this, whatever we were fighting about. And he was like, you can keep going. I'm just going to keep gaslighting you. And I was like, what
Scary.
the fuck? Like, I'm bawling my eyes out and you're fighting with me. And then all of a sudden it drops and you're just like, I'm just going to keep gaslighting you. And I was like, you know what you're doing.
Marni,
And you're enjoying it.
So concerned. I can't understand how this ends because it seems so entwined and so chaotic. How do you get out of this situation?
So I find more videos of him assaulting me from the previous year, and that still doesn't end it. But what happens is he goes to the first day we're alone after I rediscover these videos, and I get a copy of them this time. So I have something over his head. First day we're alone in the house, we're sitting in bed talking, whatever, and he's like, oh, I got to go to the shops. And he goes up to this corner store and gets this bottle of apple blackcurrant juice that I drink. And he, for some reason, we like don't even like each other at this point. We're not even friends. Comes into the bedroom. It's like, here you go. And I was like, oh, so nice. And I opened the bottle and the seal's broken. And there's a little triangle cut into the metal seal. And I'm like, oh, he had some. But there's nothing out of it. And he doesn't even like this. And I'm thinking this as I'm drinking it. And I take like two or three massive gulps out of this bottle. And then instantly it feels like someone stabbed me in the stomach. And I just start vomiting and vomiting and vomiting. My eyes start rolling back in my head. And I grab my phone while I'm still semi-conscious and dial my mom's number. And I'm like, she's like, what's going on? What's going on? And Ed's like, oh, I don't know. She's having like a bad reaction. I have chronic stomach problems. And he's like, oh, she's having a stomach flare up, whatever. And mom's like, call an ambulance. So he has to call an ambulance, and I end up in hospital that night, and I'm in kidney failure. No idea what's going on still. My parents, while I'm in hospital, go through our bedroom, and they find drawers full of needles, heroin, all this shit. And at that point, they're like, he's going. We don't care anymore. You can go with him, and we want nothing to do with you, or you can stay here and you can get clean. But like, this guy is not good for you. He's evil. And at that point, I couldn't deny it. And then I realized after I got out of hospital, he tried to kill me. He realized that I finally had the evidence about what he was doing to me. And he tried to off me. And thank God I called my mom. Because there was no one home. And it would have just been, oh, she died of a drug overdose, which was really plausible at that time. Like, anyone would have believed that. My own parents would have believed it. And that was enough for me to go, holy fuck, I'm going to die. He's not going to mess up next time, you know? And that was the thing that was like, okay, I can't be with this man anymore. And then I went forward called the police again in Sydney. I was like, no, I actually want to move forward with these charges. Like, he's not sorry. he's doing it again, and he's like, there's no remorse, and he's going to do it again. And I'd actually discovered videos of him raping other girls over the last 10 years. His ex-girlfriends, random hookups, all this exact same style of video. They're unconscious, shows his face, he's raping them. It's just nuts. And like, thank God that happened to me, and I was able to like be like, I can't do this anymore. I'm not going to die for you. Like, there's a lot of things I'll do, but I won't die for you. And my parents were really instrumental in keeping us apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to start wrapping up this interview. I'm looking at the
Sorry.
time. I'm like, oh my gosh, I hate that I have to do this. But I've got 2 questions for you, Marni.
Yeah.
Do you feel different about your sobriety today? Because what aren't you using? Because do you still use rock or anything?
No.
No. Yeah, what makes you feel different about this time?
I don't have like someone right next to me trying to sabotage me all the time. I don't have any more secrets about what went on in that relationship. Like, that whole relationship was just me hiding, concealing, trying to cover up, make everything look good, have a good veneer so that I could keep this relationship, and that's not there anymore. And also, like, I got clean for myself this time, and I wasn't trying to drag someone into a recovery that didn't want to be there. Yeah.
This will be my final question. I'm interested. It's like the universe has brought you to me, because I've really been struggling at the moment with, I feel like I've fried the dopamine receptors in my brain of having fun. Like, nothing feels fun anymore at the moment. Now, for someone like you, who fun used to look like almost killing yourself and wanting to actively do that, how do you have fun now? And even as I'm asking that, maybe you don't search for fun. Maybe you just search for peace or something that brings out your inner child. But how do you sort of enjoy your everyday life now?
Look, I have a nice partner now, like a nice person that isn't like, wants to lift me up. And we do things like, we love to go out for dinner, went to a concert on Friday night, and like, yeah, I love going out, having a nice meal, going to meetings, connection, and just, I think life, it's really easy to feel happy when there's no like extreme negative influence in your life anymore.
Yeah.
And like, I do understand that like, it's almost like a boredom, like nothing seems to give you that like
The same manic high.
yeah. But like, life isn't actually meant to be like that. I've found like life is not supposed to be crazy all the time. And like, you have exciting moments in life, but I don't know. I think it's about learning to be happy with life on life's terms. Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me on Soberly Speaking.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.